All right, we're going to give it a couple of minutes here before we get into the live recording of the podcast. But it's going to be, as I mentioned, another episode of the podcast today. And as you tune in, drop me a win for the day. Drop me a something that is going well, something that you're proud of, something that you're happy about, and tell me how your day's going. Tell me how your week's going. Always love hearing those things from everybody that tunes into these streams, everybody who listens to these podcasts. And today we're going to be talking a little bit about environment and protecting your energy. And as always, before we get into it, the people that I want on these live streams, the people that I want to be talking to on this show are people involved in the athlete journey, people involved in the journey of helping athletes become better versions of themselves. This can be the athletes themselves. This can be coaches. This can be parents. This can be anybody involved in that journey, anybody involved in helping athletes reach the next level, helping athletes build their dream careers in sport, because that is what we're all about on this show. So we're going to be getting into the podcast in about a minute. So we're going to let a couple more people tune in. And as you tune in, tag someone that should be here, tag someone that should be listening to this show. That can be athletes looking to make it to the next level. That can be coaches, that can be parents of young athletes that are starting to show that ambition to reach the next level in their sport. Tag someone, let them know that the episode is live right now, and make sure that they're tuning in as well. So let's get into the show. Like I mentioned, today we're going to be talking about environment and protecting your energy. So we're going to get into the show now in 3, 2, 1. Hey everybody, what is going on? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Elite Development Podcast, the show designed to help athletes gain an edge on their opponents and build their dream careers in sport. Now, if you follow me, if you follow this show, hopefully you are likely a high performer working towards something at the next level, working towards breaking through wherever you're at right now and reaching the next level in your sport. And so we're going to talk about something today that's going to be extremely important in helping you do that. We're going to be talking about environment, and we're going to be talking about protecting your energy. Now, when I say environment, what I'm talking about, what I mean is the environment you surround yourself with every day. If you have ambition, if you are working on trying to break through to the next level in your career, if you're working on trying to break through to the next version of yourself, to improve yourself on a day-to-day basis, the environment that you surround yourself with every day is going to be an extremely important factor in allowing you to do that. So ask yourself, is your daily environment helping you or hindering you in that quest to break through to the next level, in that quest to reach the new level of yourself and the new level in your career? So when I talk about environment, mostly what I'm talking about are the people that you surround yourself with. Now, if you're surrounding yourself, and as a rule, this is going to be family, this is going to be friends, this is going to be coworkers, more and more and more in the world we live in today, this is going to be followers on social media, random strangers on the internet from around the world, depending on how much you use social media and all of its wonderful features. And when you look at your environment, when you look at what you're consuming every day, when you look at the people that are around you every day, is this helping you or is this hurting you in reaching the next level of yourself and reaching the next level in your career? Let's talk about social media first. So this is one of the big ones now that I see more and more and more. People that I talk to will talk about, how awful social media is because it just pumps these terrible things in front of your face all the time. And, it's constantly showing you things about the war, about how awful COVID is, about all these other, bad things happening in the world. And so, they think it's this awful, evil thing because it's showing you the bad things that happen in the world. And, you look at any any comment section on a YouTube video, and it's generally a bunch of people threatening to kill each other over nothing. And so people assume that social media is evil. People look at social media as this terrible, evil thing because of the effect that it has on some people. And to talk to that a little bit, social media puts in front of you what you're looking to consume. When I look at my explore page on Instagram, or when I look at the my suggested videos on YouTube, social media is not pumping evil things into my view, because the things that I search on those platforms are related to my career. I see videos of athletes, I see people training, I see, mindset and success motivation videos. And so social media is one of the most valuable tools I have in my life. And so part of that environment that is either helping or hindering you when you're working towards reaching the next level in your career, reaching the next level in your sport, reaching the next level of yourself, is what you search on social media. So ask yourself, if you're constantly seeing terrible things about the world, if you're constantly seeing, pictures of bad things happening overseas and pictures of, stats telling you terrible things about COVID, ask yourself what you're spending your time doing on social media. So instead of blaming the platform, blame the mindset that you've created that is causing you to spend all your time searching that up on that platform. So right away, that's one thing you can do to better your environment, is be more conscious of what it is you're consuming on those platforms. And if you want to improve your environment, start consuming more positive content on those platforms. Start consuming videos of people that you admire. Start consuming videos that are teaching you something positive that you can bring into the world. Stop consuming those hateful videos that are putting you into such a terrible headspace and such a terrible mental place, and start consuming things that are actually going to be of benefit to you. Right away, that's one easy step to improve your environment. That's one easy step you can take immediately to improve your environment and to protect your mental energy and put it towards something more positive. Now, the next thing I want to talk about, and this one is a little bit harder to navigate as a person. I know that, we all go through it, we all deal with it. But the other big part of your environment is the people around you. The other big part of improving your environment is auditing who you're spending your time around and figuring out whether these people are, again, helping or hindering you in your goal of reaching the next level, your goal of reaching the next level in your career, or even just the next level of yourself. When you look at what you spend your time talking about with your friends, with your family, with your coworkers, is it about drinking and partying and, all this time wasting activity that, sure, it can be fun in the moment, but overall isn't serving you in any way whatsoever? Or are you spending your time talking about productive things? Are you spending your time talking about things that are actually going to benefit you, things that are actually going to help you reach that next level, things that are actually going to help push you forward and help you in your day to day life? Or are you wasting time? Or are you talking about, again, going back to the social media point, all these negative things that we know are going on in the world, but that you're just going to sit around and spin in circles talking about how terrible the world is? If it's the latter, if it's talking about all these negative things all the time, these people are draining your energy, and you are draining your own energy. Spending your time just talking about how awful things are and not being able to do anything about it isn't doing anything positive for you. And so if you have goals, if you're trying to break through, if you're trying to reach a new level in your career, spending your time sitting around talking about how terrible the world is just draining energy that could otherwise be going towards achieving those goals. It's just draining energy that otherwise could be going towards actually improving yourself and being able to do something about how terrible the world is. So ask yourself, when you're talking with your friends, when you're talking with your family, when you're talking with your coworkers, where does the conversation tend to go? Where does the conversation tend to go? And is there a way that you can start shifting that conversation to something positive? Is there a way you can start shifting that conversation to something that you can talk about, or that they can talk about, that can actually be of benefit to you and to them, to be able to take a step forward today instead of just spinning around in circles in a bad mood for, the 150th day in a row. So when we're looking at our environment, if you do start noticing that the majority of your time is spent in a negative state, the majority of your time is spent in a state where you're talking about, the bad stuff in the world, the state where you're talking about these things that you have no ability to control, and you're just sitting around being upset about it, understand that if you're going to break through, if you're going to reach the next level in your career, that environment needs to change. You need to surround yourself with people that are going to actually help that progress instead of hinder it. And so, right away, the biggest thing that you can do is when you start noticing conversations go in these negative directions, when you start noticing conversations start to lead down the path of, the bad things in the world, and start leading down the path of negativity and start leading down the path that they do so often, stop it. Stop the conversation in its tracks and flip it around. Ask them a question about something positive. Ask them a question that's going to try to direct the conversation in a different way. Be in control of your environment. If all you're doing is letting it continue to get negative, if all you're doing is letting yourself continue to get held back, you're not going to get anywhere. You're not going to get anywhere. You're going to keep spinning in that same circle. You're going to keep sitting in that negative mindset. You're going to stay in the same place. And it's a difficult thing to come to terms with. And it's a difficult thing to do something about. But the more you can surround yourself with these positive people, the more you can surround yourself with people that encourage you to grow and encourage you to improve, the better and better and better you're going to make your life. You are in control of this, not anybody else. You are in control of this. And if you take control and you surround yourself with better people, the growth that you're going to experience is incredible. The other thing I want to challenge you to ask yourself is, with the people that you spend the most time with, do you talk about your ambition, or are you scared to? I know for a long time, I kept every ambition I had silent because I felt like I was going to get judged. I felt like people wouldn't understand, or I'd get told that, wanting to impact the lives of millions of athletes around the world wasn't going to be realistic for me. And I should just, concentrate on something that might actually happen. But keeping that stuff quiet and just sort of dealing with the environment that I was dealt was a miserable experience, having to kind of sit back and not say anything because I didn't feel like I was going to be encouraged to go after it. I felt like I was going to be told kind of to sit down and shut up. Was a terrible experience. That wasn't enjoyable to be around. So instead of continuing to kind of just deal with that, by finding people that are actually encouraging of ambition, by finding people that I could surround myself with that are also ambitious, but encourage me to be ambitious as well, allowed me not only to be more vocal about those things, but allowed me to actually really start pursuing them all in, really start pursuing them to the best of my ability. And so I'd challenge you to ask yourself, with the people you spend the most time around, do you talk about your ambitions? Do you talk about, how you want to become a professional athlete? Do you talk about how you want to, play at a higher level next season or compete for a higher level promotion? Or are you in the same position that I used to be, of being afraid that you are going to be told, not to push too hard, or that, you shouldn't get your hopes up too high, because if you get your hopes up high, then, the fall is that much harder, and little things like that. Because if that's the position you're in, you need to get out of that environment. And yes, there's a good chance that as you keep pushing higher and higher, you're going to fail at some point or another. But that's where it comes back to the mindset. Instead of the mindset being all around the outcome of, I have to achieve this, the mindset needs to be finding the joy in pursuing it, finding the joy in putting your energy into something positive every day. I don't know that I'm going to impact the lives of millions of athletes one day. I don't know that all those ambitions that I have are going to come true. But being able to wake up every day and truly pursue them with the energy and intensity that I want to, that I desire to, is the best way to live life. This is the way that I've always wanted to live life, and being able to do that without worrying about how it's going to be perceived or how someone's going to, think that it's silly that I want to achieve these things is just the better way to live. And the other thing to look at when you're talking about your environment. So, as of right now, just to recap, I know I tend to get off on tangents a little bit, but just to recap, we're talking about environment and protecting your energy and looking at, the things you're consuming on social media, looking at the people that you spend the most time with and how your conversations with them generally go. Are they led in a positive direction or are they led in a negative direction? And understanding that if you're going to break through, if you're going to achieve the things that you want to achieve, your environment needs to be conducive of that. Your environment needs to foster growth. Your environment needs to be something that is going to actually help you grow and help you achieve these things, not people and not content online that is going to hold you back and keep you spinning in that circle. So when you're looking at that environment and when you're asking yourself these questions, when you're asking yourself if your environment is actually helping you or hindering you, my challenge to you is to gain some clarity on your goals and to make those your focus. Because if you are not in the best space right now, if you are in a space where your environment is not helping you grow, it's not the end of the world for you. You can find your way out. But the best way to find your way out is clarity on how you're going to find your way out. Clarity on your goals, on your ambitions, on the things you want to achieve. And then in turn, you're able to make those your sole focus and understand that if someone in your life isn't fostering growth, if someone in your life isn't encouraging of you pursuing those goals, they're probably someone that you don't need in your life that badly. They're probably someone that you don't need to be spending a lot of time around. And if you can make those goals your primary focus, if you can make the things you want to achieve a priority in your life over pleasing the people that are holding you back, you're going to be able to change your path. You're going to be able to change your environment. And in turn, you're going to be able to achieve those goals that you set out for in your life. So gain some clarity on those goals after you finish. We're about to wrap up here. So after you finish watching this, after you finish listening to this, sit down and figure out 10 years down the road, what do you want your life to look like? 10 years down the road, where do you want to be? Where do you want to live? Do you still want to be playing sports? Do you want to be retired? What level do you want to be competing at? Ask yourself these questions. Gain some clarity on exactly what it is you're working towards. And if you can gain some clarity on that and you can really put into words what those goals are that you're trying to achieve, now you have the power to make those your primary focus. You have the power to speak those out into the world. And from there, you're able to dictate who sticks in your environment and who it might be time to cut out. If people are going to not be supportive of you achieving success, or if people are going to try to hold you back from being ambitious and pursuing something that you actually want, these are people that it might be time to let go. These are people that it might be time to not cut out of your life entirely, but even limit the time that you spend with them. And by doing this, you're putting yourself in a more positive headspace, you're putting yourself in a more positive environment, and you're putting yourself on the path to success. So that's it for the podcast episode. I appreciate all of you who tuned in live. Thank you so much for taking the time to do that. As always, my biggest ask of anyone that tunes in, whether it was live here or whether you're listening back to this on the podcast, watching this on the YouTube channel, any of the ways that you can access this show, share it with a teammate, share it with a friend, share it with a coach, someone who should be paying attention to the topics that we talk about here. Share it with them, make sure that they're tuning into the next one, and let's all continue to get better. So again, I'm your host, Kenny Dussault. I so enjoy bringing these to you every week, and I'm looking forward to talking to you again next time.